Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Coffee Corner. Today is your episode 86. I want to say I haven't practiced English for a long time and I feel like my muscles and my tongue and my mouth, my lips, they just don't work well together. Anyway, today I want to talk about snap judgments. I think I mentioned this before. I really want to talk about this topic, but I'm no expert of this. So I've read some articles from internet and I start to read a book and I'm still reading the book. I really like it, and that's the reason I start to make this video or this episode, because I do want to recommend this book to everybody. And I think, you don't have to, the thing is, sometimes when you read a lot, you might not use even 1% of it, but if you can use even 0.5% of it, it's still beneficial, right? So that's why I want to make this video. And again, I want to say that so I've been doing the videos a lot, and I always trying to fit everything in within 20 minutes or 70 minutes, so my camera won't shut off automatically. But this time I'm gonna just go as it flows. If my camera turns off automatically without telling me, I'm just gonna let it be, because you know what, I really enjoy talking and I want to talk freely. Anyway, so the book I want to mention, or the book I want to talk about today, is Blink by Malcolm Gladwell. If you follow me long enough, you know he's my favorite author, and I mentioned a book about talking to strangers. I really like him. He's such a good storyteller. The language he uses, the language he uses, and the way he interprets and explains things is just so clear and so easy to understand. And then you will kind of at least for me, right? At least for me, when I read it, I feel like, oh, I can think about this and can relate it to it, or I have examples for that. It always makes me want to make notes about this book. So that's why I really like him. And if you haven't heard of him, or you are interested, or you're intrigued because I introduced him, definitely go ahead and find the book. Let's talk about snap judgments. I think so. If you don't know snap judgments, the good way to do it, the good way to explain it is, we always say don't judge a book by its cover, and snap judgments is the opposite. So you judge a book by its cover. It's very interesting. Sometimes, if you go online, you will look and you will find out a lot of articles or information about snap judgments are mostly negative. It's like don't judge a book by its cover, right? So it's mostly negative. But when I read Blink, this book, and I found that a lot of times we can take advantage of that. We can use it, and sometimes snap judgments are actually positive, and you can definitely take advantage of that and learn from it and use it and make a best of it, right? So let's say first impression, right? You go to an interview, and then either you're an interviewer or you're an interviewee. So let's talk about this from an interviewer's perspective. So you see the person, she's or he's good looking, and then the dress code is just really appropriate. He's elegant, she's elegant, the way they talk, and then you just feel like, oh, okay, I like this person. And right away you might have already made your decision on, do I want to give him another chance or not. And that is called snap judgment. Right at the moment, based on a lot of information you have in a second, and then you decide you want to hire or you want to give that person another chance to go a little bit further. So that's called snap judgments. And the most important, or one of the most important techniques of snap judgments, is thin slice. So think about your chopping or you're cutting things very thin to see the texture, to see what's made of. So that's what we call that thin slicing. So when you look at people right away, doesn't matter if you're consciously or unconsciously looking at that person, right away you are thin slicing that person. So you're looking at his hair, his look, and then his outfit, or the way he talks, body language, or all sorts of things, and you're thin slicing that person and all the information you have there, and try to put them together and figure out what person that is, right? So he is, or that's, yeah. So I thought, oh, that's very interesting. So how can we use that? So we talk about this from an interviewer perspective. So let's say now, well, most of us, I don't know how many of you are doing HR, but I have a friend. She's doing HR. She hated that job, and that's why she quit it, and she went to do something else. So she told me when she saw, even when she just saw the resume, she immediately know. She immediately knew if that was the perfect fit or not, and then that's why she called or she emailed the person say, "Oh, you're gonna have a follow up interview," and the way they responded to email or phone calls also gave her the information about whether this is a good fit or not. And then by the time she saw the person, she was like, you know what? It proved I was right about him, or things like that. Oh, okay. I never knew that you had to go through all the process before you even see the person. And now you're like we talk about the process, then we're back to our interviewee perspective. So let's say I know some of you are still college and university students. So you're probably looking for jobs, and I think it's a job hunting season now, May and June, right? Some of you are going to graduate soon and are going to find a job. So if you are going to send your resumes or you're already sending your resumes and you're going to make interviews and you're going to respond emails or something, so think about how you can take advantage of snap judgments and let people give you a chance to interview you before they even see you, before they even talk to you. So you're going to make a good impression. But how do you make a good impression before you can be like a face to face, and right? So first of all, if you're making your resume, make sure it's concise and not pretty, okay, concise, neat, and easy to read, and everything is consistent. Of course, you don't have a grammar mistake, you don't have spelling mistake. Your format is consistent. You know, the font, the size, the color, everything is just by one look in a second. I decided this is a good person. And then if they send you an email or you are sending cold emails to those positions, you say, oh, you know, I met you somewhere, and then my name is someone, and I want to know, right? So you want to send an email or you're responding to emails. You want to make sure you're polite, and don't be too polite, don't be too formal. You want to be polite and friendly, and also you want to have a correct format because it's kind of business writing, right? And also grammar is very important. And then you don't want to go too talkative, because why do we have email? Because we want to talk about something in short, right? So you want to be concise. And now, of course, if you read an article I wrote about ChatGPT, and definitely take advantage of that to help you with your grammar or expression. Just ask, you know, AI said, how do you say this? How do you have a concise way to say this? What is a good way to say it? Or what is appropriate way to say this and that, right? So take advantage of that. So in that way, when the HR reads your email, they think, wow, you are very expressive and your communication skills are very good. Why not give you a chance? Because you already gave me a good impression. So based on your email, that HR person, whoever reads your email, already made the snap judgment on you, because well, that's a good thing, right? So you're taking that because you know how they were going to judge you. So you were going to try to fix that, or even, let's say, fake it until you make it, right? You're not pretending, but if you're looking for a job opportunity, you want to make yourself fit, right? So that's why we're doing this. And then you're responding to emails. I've seen some of students at university when I email them, and they never really appropriately, no, they never, some of students never really appropriately responded to the email. Sometimes I know they didn't do that on purpose. Sometimes they're not aware of that. And then that make me feel like, oh, I'm not respected. And then do I want to do a better job, or do I want to help that person a little bit more? So personally, I probably don't, but professionally, yes, I was still. But then, deep down in my heart, I was like, I don't like this person, right? So for this, or in this case, the student didn't lose anything. But in the professional world, if you are not responding to email properly, and you're not showing respect, you're not checking everything, and then the person who reads the email can think you're disrespectful, right? So you don't want to give that kind of impression. And that's how you know if people are going to judge me in a second, how can I give them a really good impression in a second? That's how you learn this. And that's why we're talking about snap judgments. So, of course, we're thinking about this, and in this book, it's more than that. I'm halfway through, I haven't finished yet. But I just feel like very interesting to talk about that. I always do that. I haven't finished a book and I start to talk about this. Another thing is, I don't know if you remember, we had a video about unconscious bias, like when you just don't realize that you are actually biased, right? So, I I forgot. Maybe I mentioned that or not. Anyway, so I will say that again. If I did, just pardon me. Um, in my previous job, I was teaching occupations to low-level students, and I purposely changed the gender and the career. So I had women in important positions. Let's say female doctors, female managers, female CEOs, and then I have male in a little bit lower positions, such as waiter, and then male nurse, and then regular like a clerk. And then I randomly assign the pictures to the students and then let them fill out the blank, right? So they will have to say, oh, this is doctor. So not like trying to indicate a gender, but they will say doctor, nurse, or something. The funny thing is, most of my students who are from religious country, not religious, how am I going to put this without offending a lot of people? So people from the culture that has definitely really huge impact on them think the female is a nurse. Doesn't matter if the female is wearing like a white jacket and having all the equipment. She looks like a doctor, and the manager is same thing. And they just put all the female at the lower level position. So all the female doctors will be nurses, and the managers will be waitress, and then uh, other like CEOs will be like a clerk, secretary, or something like that. And I was, that's very interesting. First of all, I felt a little bit upset about how they actually, because those students were female students too, so they didn't think highly of them as well. And I'm so, as a woman, you have to respect yourself first. Then you can expect other people to respect you. If you don't respect yourself, how are you going to expect other people to do the same thing, right? So, but then I understand it's a cultural and religious thing. It's hard to, it takes years. They've been surrounded by those kind of beliefs, values, and culture for so many years before, like since they were born. Of course, it was very difficult for them to change the view of that. And that brought me the snap judgment in this book, Blink, is where we live and what we learn, what we've gone through, definitely have an impact on how we think of things. So if you live in a rich neighborhood, you will think, of course you buy this, of course you buy that. Why don't you use money to solve problems? Because in their world, there's no such thing called, oh, I don't have money, right? And then this is the funny thing about my rich friend. She's super, super rich. Every time I go shopping with her, I have to be very careful because she's like, oh, why don't you buy that? That's such a great style. And then she showed me a very nice water bottle that's like automatic heat up or something like that. I was like, oh, I love it. And I'm a fan of mugs and cups and bottles. And I checked the price is like $300. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. I think I have a lot of bottles that I don't need that one. Because for her, she didn't think that I wasn't at her level to purchase a $300 bottle because that's really too much. And also she would ask you, why don't you use this? I'm like, oh, could be, I don't have money. So a lot of things, because in her world, she didn't go through that. She didn't grow up with those kind of situations. So unconsciously, she believed what I have is what she has. and or what she has is what I have, right? And then right away when she thinks about me, and then she thinks about we're the same person. When we buy things, we'll of course buy the same thing, and that's right at that moment. She didn't even think twice, so she just right away think, oh, I'm like her, right? Another thing is very, very typical. I hope this is not going to offend anybody. Is about racial and race and gender. Very common when it comes to step judgment. When it comes to how you think about other people. Sometimes you're not even racist. You're not even sexist. It's just the way you grew up, and then the whole environment to think about that way, and then that has an influence on you, and you just don't know it, and right away, unconsciously, right? We're talking about unconsciousness. Then you think that's it. There's a very interesting test and the research. It's called IAT from the book I mentioned. So they will have like a test about African American and a white career and then position or something like that. So you will have to match this. So it will from very easy. Let's say male and a female, mother and father. So you will of course think male is father, female is mother. But when you think about stay-home parent, male, female, right? Stay-home parent, would you connect a male to the stay-home parent, or would you connect a female to the stay-home parent? So that moment, at that second, you will think which one you will pair with, and then that's unconscious snap judgment. Right. And then the test goes even more difficult, more complicated. That you will have to think twice, but it doesn't give you time to think twice. So you will have to make a decision right away. So a lot of people ended up being sexist or racist, which is not true. And he says it's not about that. It's about unconscious awareness. You're not aware of those kind of things because you've been raised in that environment. They teach you, female, of course, is responsible for family. They take care of family, take care of kids, they take care of everything. Of course, if there's a stay-home parent, she's going to be a stay-home parent. Male, of course, means you're going to take care. You're going to take a lot of responsibilities. You're going to have to go out to make a living. You have to carry a lot of pressure, and you're going to be the, a person who wears the pants in the house, right? That's how we grew up, That's how maybe your parents are like that. Mommy is a stay-home mom, but dad is a really working hard dad. That's how we grew up. It doesn't mean you're a sexist or you're a racist. But nowadays in the real world, when you make a comment like that, you are more likely to get yourself in trouble talking about race and gender, because you're going to be like, oh, you're racist, or might not be that case. So, but again, political correctness, or you have to be careful of that. But like what I said in the very beginning, we're talking about how you can use the step judgments to, benefit you. Same thing is, we can change first impression if we're aware of what we've been through or where we've grown up. Then you can tell yourself sometimes it might not be true, and this is why you need to go travel. You need to see more. You need to experience more, and then you will have like a wide open eyes to see a lot of things. Like wow, okay, that's definitely not what I thought it would be, right? So that's why if you see people who travel a lot, they're more open-minded. They're easy to well, of course, no, I can't really make that statement, but they're more open-minded. They accept things or even new things or something very extreme relatively easier than people who stay in their country or in their city, in the location for a very long time. And again, for me, I came here, I've been living here for a long time, I've seen a lot of things. I have no judgment. No, I barely have judgments on other people because, you know what? Mind your own business. If you don't judge me, I don't judge you, right? Sorry, it's Bob. But for my parents, it was very difficult for them. When they came here, they always say, "Oh, don't dye your hair yellow or blonde or any kind of colors because then you look bad girl." And they said, "Why do you wear this?" I wear leggings. They said, "Oh, aren't those pants too tight?" No, that's awkward. And I have a tattoo on my back. It's my spirit. So I have that. When my mom saw that, she told me only bad girl has tattoo, right? Okay, so I said it was temporary, and then she saw that again a couple of days ago. She said, "Oh, it's been there for a long time." I was like, "Yeah." Did you get the permanent one? I was like, "Yeah." So the needled in. I was like, "Yeah." So didn't that hurt? But because she's been traveling more often than before, and this time she didn't say anything bad about my tattoo. She was more concerned about it that hurt so much. Other than the first time she was talking about that only bad girl had a tattoo. Same thing. You smoke, right? You swear, you drink, you have tattoos, or whatever things. As a girl, they're gonna say, "Oh, bad girls do that," right? Why? Everybody can do it, right? So in this book, in a chapter, it's talking about a great salesman. I really like the sentence. He said there is when that salesperson looking at every customer who enters that door, he does not look at everybody based on gender, based on race, based on income, or any kind of, or your outfit or your look. You enter the room, you're a person, you're a human being. So I look at you as I look at everybody else. Everyone has an equal chance to buy a car. It's not like you're a woman, you're more dumb, you can't buy a car, so I'm gonna, trick you and get you pay more. Or because you're, a guy of color, and then I think you're poor and you can't afford it, so I'm not gonna treat you well. And then you go to a lot of shopping malls, and especially if you want to buy some luxurious brands or designer brands or something like that. And people, especially those salespeople, they do snap judge you. They will look at you, they decide whether you can afford it or not, and then this is how they treat you. And I'm sure you've seen this on social media. Sometimes they're really terrible. Their attitude is just like outrageous. And then you'll be like, I plan to buy things. I wanted to buy things, but because you treat me like that, you know what? Forget about it, right? Again, you see this on TV shows that probably like a you know old lady with their like a loose fit outfit, and then they go there and they want to buy jewelry. They said, "Oh, you look at you, like you look like you can't afford even a ring or something," but ended up being the person being a millionaire. They can provide the whole store or something like that. So if you're a salesperson, you're selling things, this is a great lesson to learn is never make a snap judgment on everybody. Everyone comes to your store, comes to your shop. They're customers. They have an equal chance to buy things there, whether they can afford it or not, because you don't know, right? Even though based on their look, based on their dress, based on everything, you're trying to think slice all the information you have there. You don't know them until you know them. So that's why if you don't know them, don't make a judgment and try to get to know them first. And then, go with that. Another good example that happened to me, and I hope you can learn from me too. I always make mistakes about friendship. Is if I'm very good with you, right? So you're my good friend, you're my best friend. You're talking about the third person. Let's say we're talking about Bob, and we say, "Oh, you know what? Bob is such a terrible person. I really hated him. He's always gossiping about other people. You know what? He cheated on his girlfriend, or something like that." So we might badmouth about, or you might badmouth about Bob. So for me, based on the information I have here, I've even never met Bob yet, and I hated that. I hated Bob right away. Uh, because you feed me all the information about him, so I decided, like, oh, based on the information, right? That's a snap judgment based on the information. Bob is such a terrible person. And that is also a theory from this book. It's called Prime for Action. Is at some point you don't know what you've been influenced. You don't know what you're being fed, right? So a lot of information from social media, a lot of information from your friends or people you know, they're telling you this is good, this is not good, this is good, this is not good. They're not trying to brainwash you, but because you've been exposed to such thing so long that you realize, oh, that might be part of me. Oh, then I'm gonna, take actions according to the information I get. And then sometimes you make wrong actions. So for me, uh, it's a person I worked with before at a volunteer job. Uh, she was okay. She was okay by then. She didn't really give me a good impression there. I was in charge of the whole event organization. She was my volunteer, so she left before I said, it's all set, because I still needed a couple hands to help me with a lot of things when the conference started. But she left without telling me. So first, that's really bad impression. I immediately said I didn't like her. And then I've heard some people talking about her and her friends, and how her friends were terrible. Not even her, how her friends were terrible. And based on all the information, I really disliked her for a long time. For a long time, until I started to work with her again as a colleague. And then I realized such a great person. And she's so responsible and so nice, well spoken, and very, very like how am I gonna say? Like if you want to become a friend with her, she's such a good friend. But for so many years, I've had a wrong impression on her. And that's because the snap judgments, because people who told me about her, because the prime for action, and because the information I get, and then of course the first impression was very important. So I was like, wow, you know what? A lot of things that's happening, a lot of things that you learn, but you never have a theory behind it, and it's wrong, it's right, but you never have a theory behind that. And all of a sudden I read this book, I was like, holy cow, that is it, right? That's why. And then it tells me why we make such snap judgments, and it tells me how we can take advantage of that, and how we can change it, how we can change our unconscious awareness, and to help us know more, know things better, know people better, right? So that's why I was like, when I read this book, I was so excited to like, I'm gonna share this book with everybody. Anyway, so that's what I was talking about, Sam. Of course, snap judgments are such a big topic, and then you can definitely Google it and see. You may have different opinions, but please, 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 if you have something like similar examples or similar stories you want to share with me, please leave a comment down below and let's share that with everybody. But do you actually make snap judgments? All right, so let's answer that question now. Anyway, so I hope you like this episode. Of course, there's a lot more to talk about on this topic, but you know what? I'm not expert on this, so I have to learn more to. Maybe in the future we'll have another episode about that when I finish the book. But definitely go ahead to check it out. So for next episode, I was thinking about a new topic, very trendy on TikTok. It's called de-influence. So let's talk about that next time, because recently I need to have to tell myself to de-influence as well. Anyway, so it's a nice weather out there, and it's allergy season, and I have huge allergies, really terrible allergies. And Bob's out there; he refuses to come here, and just doesn't want to cooperate. But hopefully next episode I can get him here, and we can say hi to each other. And I hope you like this episode. But don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you next time. Bye.